Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome to the Paradigm Shift YouTube channel. I'm your host, Carlos. So, UAP, UFO, are they a threat to national security? Well, let's look into that. Okay, these things are they're they're able to outmaneuver our existing military jets. They're able to appear in one spot and disappear in another. Um, they have been around military sites. Uh, Again, this goes back to the 50s and the 70s, where they were around nuclear facilities, and they were able to disable and activate nukes. Uh, so I would think if they're able to hack into that, I think that's considered a threat. Um, if they're able to kind of like appear wherever and whenever in your own backyard, uh, yeah, that's kind of a threat to me because I mean I don't know what it is, and I think that's the whole thing. It's like you're basing this on you're saying you don't know what it is, uh, but it's around these facilities. It's messing and toying with these pilots. Um, so regardless of what originality these things come from, where they come from, they still are demonstrating capabilities that are considered a threat to national security. Um, as far as whatever it is being threatening, uh, we don't know. There's no documents of any hostility of any stuff like that we know of officially, publicly. Um, I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's disinformation." It's the secret space force and whatnot. Okay, maybe, but I mean, if you're the government or a private, defense contractor, you know, um, you're showing these things off in front of the U.S. military. So I mean, they're gonna take that as a threat because they're saying they don't know what it is. Even if they do know what it is, we the public don't know what it is. Yeah, we could go on, what people say and what you hear, all these theories. You have, people that say, oh, all these abductions were all it's all a hoax, it's all a psyops, and they say that the real contact is done, I guess, telepathically, spiritually. Uh, So there's a division in that and in the ufology community, UFO community, or whatever, as to regarding abductions. So that's one theory that they're going with, as far as like, oh no, they're not a threat. They're here because they want humanity to be in peace, and they want to make sure we don't use nuclear weapons because we could kill the planet. Yeah, okay, yeah, we could do that. That's possible. I mean, we are a pretty destructive, race. So, if you want to talk about, okay, the actual aliens or different type of species of aliens and their intentions of what they've done and whatever when it comes to probing. Like one of my buddies likes to always talk about anal probing. I'm talking about you, Joe. and then the whole thing where they, I guess they're creating hybrids, out of human DNA, where they take samples, semen samples from men, or they take the freaking eggs or embryos from a woman. That's been reported. Taken seriously, it all depends. I mean, you can't. I mean, you can't deny. You can't like question what somebody experienced. You know, and then you have people that would shown you know what would happen if we kept going in a path of destruction as a species, and they want to spread the message like, oh yeah, peace and love. um let's see. And there's other theories that that it's the government, or another was another government that was doing these abductions on people and doing these experiments so they could think they were being abducted by aliens as a source of a psychological operation on people. So I think that's why abductions really haven't been taken seriously by mainstream. Although you'll still hear stories and everything, but I mean, they sound legit. But regardless, officially and publicly, we don't know what it is. And it's like, you think back when the Europeans landed and the natives, you know, saw the boats and saw the people. It's like, what do they think? Are they a threat, or are they here to as saviors, or you know? And we saw what happened there, and it goes to even in our own species how we've shown throughout history, or it's about colonizing, I guess you could say, new ventures. You think back, the Vikings did it, you know, um, the Europeans and Russians were doing it. But regardless, if you put yourself on both sides, you kind of know your intents, what your intents are. We as a human species know what the intents are when you discover something new or discover a new civilization, new people. You know, it's fear, I guess you could say, if you're on that other end. And the other end, it's like, oh, right, let's see what we could get out of this. Let's see what we could exploit out of this to return to our mainland. So who's to say that these things are not drones? I know there's been like reports of different types of UFOs, from triangles, pyramids, cigar shapes, discs, chevron shaped, um, orbs of light, spheres, and now tic tacs. But you think about it, I mean, you people say, "Oh, how come like nothing's happened? Nothing was reported in the last decades. Only like the last decade or two, which is how this report is basing their findings on, the last 2 decades and 120 reports." So it's like, what happened before? So yeah, one could say, based on how all these, there's different types of sightings and different types of shapes. Maybe we're dealing with more than one type of visitors, regardless if they're interdimensional, out of this world, or from this world itself that we are not aware of. Um, so maybe like back in the 40s and 50s or whatnot, maybe that was a different type of uh, group that was doing exploring, and maybe now it's a different type, or maybe the same ones. But I don't know. But you think about the size of these things, I don't know. It's like the way they act. I mean, a lot of people think they're drones. Either from our secret, military, or from other nations. But again, this goes to how can they hide this for 80 years? So that theory is not gonna fly. And I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, how come they don't land, in front of the White House, and make their presence known? Yeah, you don't want to do that. I mean, think, oh, maybe. I mean, people have you hear stories where there have been agreements with presidents or other leaders with certain aliens, whatever. Who knows if it's true? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we're not being told. A lot of stuff that has been kept from people. A lot of secrets the government has, and we're finding out little by little. But I don't know. Regardless, we don't know what it is officially. We don't know what it is, and based on that, not knowing what it really is, even if the government knows what exactly it is, we don't know what it is. So I think I mean, what are the intentions of these things? Um, and why are they hiding themselves? So, like I said, I mean, these things might be drones. I mean, what do you do when you send drones, to explore, check out the environment, check out the people, how things are. And some are gonna say, oh, this is just a psychops to, you know, for more funding for the military. Okay, but you can't deny the information that's out there. You can't deny what people are seeing, even if it's civilian footage out of a cell phone or home cameras, video cameras, or military footage from infrared or whatever. So I mean, these things are up there, and they are showing you know abilities that cannot be explained to our common knowledge, to what we know, based on science and based on what airplanes we know are flying around. If you really want to kind of like get into kind of like details and kind of wacky, if for some might think, you know, as how people communicate with these beings, which is all telepathic, you know, and how a lot of this stuff now it has relating to interdimensional stuff, like, and a lot of like self awareness and the subconscious mind, how we're all just part of this cosmic energetic web, you know. So that theory where, it's like this weird, I'm not gonna say like a spiritual connection with these orbs of light, some would say. Um, I know one of the biggest guys on this is Doctor Greer. Uh, but I have, he if you kind of like follow his stuff and look at his work, I don't know. So some stuff is a little bit questionable as far as like what his agenda is, but I guess his theory kind of makes sense. And from personal experience, I could kind of agree with the whole connection. The how it kind of works. It's hard to explain, but I guess once you kind of like start noticing things, and then put yourself in that state of mind or whatever. A lot of people would say, oh, just meditate, just find, just it's weird. I guess it's weird, but I guess once you kind of like get that going and you start, looking up, and if you see something, you know, boom. Um, you'll kind of see a connection. You'll kind of know what I'm talking about. But again, that's uh, that's just one theory, and based on how many alleged different types of alien civilizations are visiting this planet. I mean, some might have different intents than others, you know. So, again, if you believe in that stuff, and if you're open to that possibility, because I mean, again, it's going to be left for public speculation. You know, it's like they're saying, well, we don't know what it is, but you know, it is a threat to national security because it's doing all this stuff. So I don't know. I mean, what's your take on this? I mean, if you guys put this really into perspective, you know, and whatever you hear from all sides, what's your perspective? How do you guys see this? You know, so I don't know. Just another quick rant, and so thanks for tuning in to this YouTube channel. This has been the Paradigm Shift.